They say absolute power corrupts absolutely. But what if power doesn't corrupt? What if it simply reveals? Rome. 41 AD, an emperor stands before the Senate. He's naked, covered in blood, laughing. This is not madness. This is what happens when a human being is told he is a god. Tonight we enter the mind of Caligula, the boy who was loved by millions, the emperor who declared war on the sea, the tyrant who made his horse a senator. This is the story of how power doesn't just corrupt the mind, it devours it. 12 AD, a military camp on the Rhine frontier. A boy is born. His real name, Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus. The soldiers call him something else. Caligula. Little Boots. He is the son of Germanicus, Rome's greatest general, the grandson of Mark Antony, the great-grandson of Augustus himself. Royal blood runs through his veins, but so does something else, something darker. As a child, Caligula watches his father die, poisoned, murdered by agents of Emperor Tiberius. He watches his mother dragged away to prison. She will starve to death there. He watches his brothers arrested, executed, one by one. Young Caligula learns a lesson that will shape his reign. In Rome, family means nothing. Power means everything. And trust is suicide. At 18, he is summoned to the island of Capri. Emperor Tiberius, the man who murdered his family, wants him close, to control him, to watch him. Caligula smiles, obeys, waits. For years, he plays the perfect prisoner, never complains, never rebels, becomes whatever Tiberius wants him to be. A survivor, a chameleon, a dead man walking who refuses to die. Inside, something is growing, a rage that has no name, a hunger that cannot be satisfied, but he hides it, buries it, smiles. March 16th, 37, AD Emperor Tiberius dies. Some say natural causes, others whisper that Caligula smothered him with a pillow. At 24 years old, Caligula becomes Emperor of Rome. The Senate rejoices, the people celebrate. Finally they cry, a good emperor. Finally, hope. They have no idea what's coming. The first 7 months are perfect. Caligula frees political prisoners, abolishes treason trials, gives bonuses to soldiers, throws magnificent games for the people. Rome hasn't seen generosity like this in decades. The Golden Boy has become the Golden Emperor. But then, October 37, AD Caligula falls ill. A fever, possibly encephalitis. For days he lies in bed, burning. The entire empire prays for his recovery. He survives. But when he wakes, something has changed. The man who returns from that sickbed is not the same man. Perhaps the illness damaged his brain. Perhaps he saw something in the fever dreams. Perhaps the trauma of his childhood, buried deep, finally surfaced. Or perhaps he simply realized he could do anything, and no one could stop him. The first sign, his personality shift. The generous emperor becomes cruel overnight. The merciful ruler becomes paranoid. The beloved leader becomes something else. He starts small, forcing senators to run beside his chariot, making them bow and kiss his feet, humiliating them in public. Then he goes further. He declares himself a living god, not metaphorically, literally. He builds temples to himself, orders statues of Jupiter replaced with his own face, demands to be worshipped. The Senate is terrified, but they comply. They bow, they worship. They pretend the emperor is divine, because to disagree is to die. Caligula begins hosting elaborate dinners. He invites senators and their wives. During the meal, he points to a woman. "I'll take her to my chambers now." He does. Returns hours later, describes the experience in detail, while her husband sits there, silent. The husband smiles, thanks the emperor for the honor. Because what else can he do? Then Caligula becomes creative. He opens a brothel inside the palace. staffed with senators' wives and daughters, forces patrician women to work there, charges Roman citizens to sleep with Rome's nobility. The money goes directly to the imperial treasury. He calls it taxation. Rome calls it horror. But no one speaks. No one dares. Then comes the madness that defines him, his horse, Incitatus. Caligula loves this horse more than any human, feeds him from golden buckets, dresses him in purple, the color of emperors, builds him a marble stable with ivory manger and a staff of servants. Then, Caligula appoints the horse as a priest, plans to make him consul, the highest political office in Rome, after the emperor himself. The Senate debates whether to obey. They obey, because by now everyone understands. Caligula isn't making his horse a senator because he's insane. He's making his horse a senator to prove a point. You are worth less than my horse. All of you. The atrocities escalate. Caligula begins killing for entertainment. He attends gladiator games. When there aren't enough criminals to fight, he orders guards to throw entire sections of the audience into the arena. Men, women, children, doesn't matter. He watches them die, laughs, eats grapes. His paranoia grows. He sees conspiracy everywhere. Trusted advisors are executed without trial. Friends disappear. Family members are murdered. His own grandmother, Augustus's widow, is driven to suicide. He forces people to watch as he tortures their loved ones. Fathers watch sons die. Mothers watch daughters. Then he invites them to dinner that same evening. And they come, smiling, pretending nothing happened, because to show grief is to admit the emperor was wrong. And to admit the emperor was wrong, Caligula's spending becomes insane. Tiberius left the treasury full. Caligula drains it in less than a year. He builds floating bridges across entire bays. Just to prove he can, he builds a bridge from his palace to the temple of Jupiter, so he can visit his fellow gods whenever he wants. When the money runs out, he creates new taxes: tax on prostitutes, tax on marriage, tax on food, tax on lawsuits, tax on literally everything. Still not enough. So he starts executing wealthy citizens and taking their estates. The empire is bleeding, but Caligula doesn't care. He's building temples to himself. He has more important things to do than govern. Then comes the moment that cements his legend. 40 AD, Caligula decides to invade Britain. The legions march to the northern coast of Gaul. They prepare for the greatest military campaign in a generation. They reach the beach, face the sea, wait for orders. Caligula addresses his troops. "Neptune, god of the sea, has offended me. We will punish him. Collect seashells. These are the spoils of our conquest over Neptune." The soldiers, Rome's finest legions, stand there confused. Then they obey. They collect seashells, fill baskets, present them to their emperor as if they were treasures from a defeated enemy. Caligula declares victory over the ocean itself, returns to Rome in triumph, displays the seashells in the palace. Rome doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. They do neither. They clap. They celebrate. They call him conqueror of Neptune, because by now everyone knows the emperor has left reality behind, and reality cannot argue with a god. January 41. AD, 4 years into Caligula's reign, Rome is exhausted, the treasury is empty, the Senate is terrified. The Praetorian Guard, the emperor's own bodyguards, are humiliated daily. Something has to break. A conspiracy forms, not in the Senate, not among generals, among the men closest to him. The Praetorian officers, the ones who see him every day, who endure his mockery, who watch him destroy Rome from within. The leader, Cassius Chaerea, a decorated officer, a veteran, a man Caligula mocks constantly for having a weak voice. Every time Chaerea asks for the daily password, Caligula gives him words like Venus or Priapus, sexual humiliation in front of other soldiers. Chaerea decides, Enough. January 24th, 41. AD, the Palatine Games. Caligula is attending theatrical performances in the palace complex. He's enjoying himself, laughing, unaware, midday. Caligula decides to leave for lunch. He walks through a narrow underground corridor. His guards are ahead, behind, beside. But in that corridor, Cassius Chaerea steps forward. Caesar. Caligula turns. The first strike hits his shoulder. Caligula screams, "I still live!" Then the other conspirators attack. 30 stab wounds. They don't stop until long after he's dead. The god emperor lies on the stone floor, blood pooling around his broken body, 28 years old, 4 years as emperor. The conspirators find his wife, Caesonia. She's holding their infant daughter, Julia Drusilla. They kill them both. The entire bloodline, erased. When the Senate learns of his death, they don't mourn, they celebrate. They order his statues torn down, his name chiseled from monuments. Damnatio memoriae, the condemnation of memory. Rome tries to forget he ever existed, but you cannot erase what he proved. You cannot forget what he showed us. 2,000 years later, we still speak his name. Caligula, not as a ruler, as a warning. So what happened to him? Was he born evil? Number. He was born a child. Was he mad? Perhaps. But not from the beginning. Something broke in him. Maybe the illness, maybe the trauma, maybe the power itself. Here is what we know. Caligula was raised watching his family murdered. He survived by becoming whatever people wanted him to be. He learned that authenticity is death, that power is survival, that trust is weakness. Then suddenly he had absolute power. No limits, no consequences, no one to say no, and something inside him snapped. Perhaps he became the monster because monsters killed his family. Perhaps he humiliated the Senate because the Senate enabled his family's murder. Perhaps he made his horse a consul because humans had proven themselves worthless. Or perhaps the trauma, the power, and the isolation created something new. Something that could only exist at the intersection of divinity and madness. Caligula proves something terrible, that there is no such thing as a good person with absolute power. Only people who haven't had absolute power long enough. He showed that the human mind is not built to be worshipped. That when you tell someone they are a gish, eventually they believe you. And gods do not care about human suffering. Rome learned this lesson in blood, killed him for it, tried to erase him, but the lesson remains, carved in history, written in the ruins. Caligula ruled Rome for 4 years, 4 years of horror, 4 years that changed everything. Because after Caligula, Rome understood. The emperor is not divine, the emperor is human. And humans, given godlike power, become monsters. So I ask you, was Caligula insane? Or was he the only honest emperor? The only one willing to show what absolute power actually means? What do you think? Was he mad from the beginning? Or did Rome make him? Share your thoughts below. And if you want to journey deeper into the darkness of history, into the minds of tyrants and the fall of empires, subscribe to Dark Ages Chronicles. Because the past is not dead. It's not even past. It's watching, waiting, reminding us that power, absolute power, doesn't corrupt, it reveals.